Hallo und herzlich willkommen zum zweiten Teil des zweiten Teils unseres Soundcheck Tech Talks. Immer noch mit Simon Phillips und weiterhin gut gelaunt geht es nun endlich weiter. Viel Spaß!
Is there any old record that you really regret?
Oh, there's a load. But you know, most of the time not. I mean, there's a lot of records in the 70s which I wish the sound had been better. But you know, in those days it was very, very different. And you know, we had there was a different hierarchy. You know, there wasn't so much you could really say doing sessions in the early 70s, for example. Yeah.
Do you think the sound was too dry, or what is? I'm not quite sure what was in the early 70s.
Yes, it was dry because in those days we didn't have ISO booths. We all played in the same room, and we put screens in between all of the instruments. And a studio in those days was usually one big room, and it had to be very adaptable for recording not only a rock group, but maybe a film session, you know, with a small string section, a lot of acoustic instruments. So, you know, you had to try to figure out a way of keeping the drums out of all the other microphones. So you'd set the piano up the other end of the room and screen it off, you know, with the screen. So it was much easier if the room was dead. And but it's not a sound I particularly like.
Yeah.
Once we started by opening doors of studios into other rooms and putting mics out there. You know, there was a studio in München called in the Arabellahus called Musicland, and it was underneath the hotel and was a typical Dead studio. Led Zeppelin recorded there, Deep Purple. I mean, everybody was using that place. Harold Faltermeyer was recording all his Beverly Hills Cops movies there. And one day, the engineer, Martin Birch, he said, hey, he had a look and he opened the doors to these concrete corridors. He said, let's put the drum kit out here. and this was kind of the start of, you know, using ambience mics and using more live rooms. And then, of course, your design changed. They put ISO booths in. You know, we started to isolate equipment. So then the drum kit could suddenly have a room where it could breathe. So yeah, I mean, there's a big, in the 70s, it was all pretty dry. And I was never a big fan of that. Yeah. And
when you record now, also, of course, on this record, how do you go about with the ambient mics and the overheads? Are you starting the mix with the overheads and then getting the closed mics in, or?
Hang on 1 second.
Yeah.
This is actually the next interview, but let me just talk. Hello? Yeah, I am. Bonjour, Laurent. Listen, Laurent, I am still doing an interview. Would you be able to call me back in 15 minutes? Okay, let's do that, because I'd like to finish this one up properly, you know. All right, I look forward to your call. Okay, all right, merci. Au revoir. Okay, so yeah, they set it up for 11:30, and but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I guess I'm over the clock right now.
Oh, don't worry, no problem. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. It's honored.
Yeah, you asked about what, ambience and overhead.
I was asking how you go about. So when you mix a drum set, are you starting? So is your reference point the overheads, or you starting with closed mics? I don't know, with the snare drum or the bass drum.
Well, if I've engineered the drum kit, or I've been the player and somebody's engineered, like Jason, who knows exactly how I want it, I know pretty much what everything's going to sound like. I know what the overheads are going to sound like. So typically when I set a mix up, I always start with kick drum, and there's usually various. There's usually, well, it depends on Derek's album. What do we do? Oh yeah, we had an inside mic and we had an outside mic. So there's 2 mics per kick drum. Plus I used a sub right in the middle of the kit just to pick up a general kind of low bit of sub going on and heavily compressed. So I've got 5 faders basically to choose from for 2 bass drums. So it's 2 for each, and then there's the sub fill, you know. So I kind of fiddle around with that for a little bit, not too long, because your ears get tired. So I just come up, oh, that seems a nice balance, great, okay. My next thing would be to put the overheads up. And that's where basically the whole drum kit, the whole sound comes from. Overheads, kick drum. Then obviously I listen, I look at the meters and see if we're even, do any adjustments. If there's any gain issues, I'll insert a little trim to just trim the gain, because I want some headroom, because I'm probably going to throw in a compressor as well. In the overheads, I always throw in a compressor, usually a Fairchild, because what I want to happen is usually there's a lot of snare on the overheads. What I like is to compress that quite heavily, so the snare actually disappears when it's hit and then opens up. Right? So now I've got kick and I've got overheads. Then I'm going to add the snare drum in. So as the snare drum disappears out of the overheads, I put the real close mic up. Suddenly I've got a big snare sound. And then after it's hit, there's this lovely decay. And I haven't even touched any reverb or ambience here. This is just the sound of the room, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, I pay a lot of attention to phase and make sure. We usually do this when we record, but I always check it again in mix mode. Obviously, if in Pro Tools, obviously you have to make sure delay compensation's on, because as soon as you start adding plugs, and things are going to start shifting. And then, so that's basically the character. And then I'll have a listen to the room and see, okay, that's a nice mixture. I'll probably do something to those as well. And that's my basic sound. Then I'll start in on the toms. And I'll probably switch everything off and just solo all the toms, EQ each one as necessary. Usually needs a bit more, you know. Make sure the pan positions are good. Probably the last thing that goes in is the hi-hat, because I've usually got plenty on the overheads anyway. Just a little bit, just pan it a little bit, you know. I mean, everybody's got their different techniques. And then I find a balance where the tom-toms, all the tom faders, I pull them down usually between 10 and 15 dB and play around with it where there's not too much ring going on, but there's not too little and it sounds too tight, too synthetic. So I like to bring in, because it just helps the way the kit just all works with in itself, you know. So that's when I'm doing recording my own kit or mixing my own kit. I know well that's what I can do. So it really doesn't take that long. And then if I know the music well, which on Derek's record I do, then I will probably start writing all the toms, automation, and maybe setting basic automated levels for everything, just by looking at meters. You know, I know what level I need to see with just the drum kit, and then I can start going through the other instruments. But if I'm mixing something that I don't know and somebody sent it to me, then first of all I need to find out what's on the track. I need to go through all the drums and go, oh boy, ooh, okay, that's going to sort of, oh, that's out of phase, oh, right, flip, flip, you know, all that kind of stuff. Listen to the bass. Is he got just a DI, or is it an amp and a DI? Okay, yeah, I like that. I think that works pretty well. Let's have a look at these guitars, and you know, and just to see kind of what's wrong with everything. I only mean from a technical sonic point, you know. And then, of course, I start to set up what I would call as a rough mix, and just get an idea of what the song's about, what needs to be done. Has it been produced or has it not been produced? Most things nowadays don't have a producer, and that's the big problem.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is really paying attention to the overall sound of the record anymore. They're just concentrating on their part. They even miss some of the harmony that goes on. Sometimes there's a wrong passing note in a bass part. Even some of the figures are different. And I'm going, they're playing a different figure. It's not, it is meant to be the same figure. It's not a contrapuntal thing. So I then have to go in and start moving notes and, oh yeah, I mean, it's quite a job actually, mixing tracks these days.
I see. Do you use TuneBoard or something like this, or a dial tune to tune your drums, or do you tune your drums completely by ear?
Oh yeah, totally by ear. Yeah, absolutely. Key, drum key.
The good old drum key is the key.
Yeah, I think I have some somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, but there's one somewhere.
What are your future plans? Do you have something coming up? Some new records? Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, everybody in the world has had to change their plans, and especially all musicians have changed. What's been really fantastic and well, very thankful about is that a lot of people decided to obviously make their records in this COVID lockdown. And I ended up doing more sessions in this period than I've done in years. It's quite amazing. And I'm very grateful for that, because I think all of us musicians were thinking, oh shit, what are we going to do now? You know, a lot of musicians I speak to have been very busy recording, which is encouraging. It's great. I know there's a lot of musicians out there who are not able to do that because that's not what they do. You know, they're more of a live musician. I hope they're getting some work in to record. You know, but that has been very encouraging to see that people have just been going, hey, you know what? I might as well do something, and I've got a little budget here, you know, and so I've been playing on records. Plus, I've mixed 3 albums since, including Derek's, since March the 19th. So I bet you're being pretty busy. I've got, what have I got? I'm producing a new band. We're going to go into the studio in December, so I'm kind of working on that. And I've got a bunch of some sessions to do, but I'm also writing new music for Protocol as well. So
okay.
I was hoping to have it all done by now, but I got too busy with other stuff. I haven't had the chance. So, but I am planning another Protocol 5. That's the next one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you still have time to practice then, or I mean, you seems like you're pretty busy.
The funny thing is when this all started, COVID, and I'm in a rental house at the moment. My house is being built now. I didn't know how bad it was going to get.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether they were going to have like curfew and you know, like more, all this kind of stuff at the time. So I rushed over to my storage unit and grabbed one of my smaller kits, and I have it set up right here. So and now it's all mic'd up. I can actually record with it. I've been doing some things from home, especially when they've been just freebie things, mainly for COVID. I've done a couple of those things, so I can record that here. So sometimes often I just walk by it, but often I stop and go, oh hell, I'm going to play a little bit, you know. So you know, yeah, I do not as much though, and of course you can never replace real live playing in terms of energy, physique. That's the tough one. You just can't replace it, you know.
So then I guess we have to come to an end right now, because your friend is.
You're going to call in about 3 minutes from France this time.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you have any aspiring drummers that we should check out as drumheads?
Ooh, wow. I mean, I have my favorites, but they're probably not that young anymore.
You can also give us some classics.
Yeah, I mean, let me give you some of the names of people who are not maybe they're younger. Gavin Harrison.
Yeah, just talked to him yesterday.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
We have a very interesting relationship because his father used to play trumpet in my father's band.
Really?
I used to play with his father every night because I played in the band.
That's awesome. Yeah,
we did something. It's up on Instagram, which is actually really fun. And I'm working on another one that we're going to do, just for fun. I think Gavin is an absolutely wonderful musician, beautiful player. Marco Miniman. I mean, he's phenomenal. Yeah, we see each other occasionally. He's come up here to record. I mean, there's so many great players out there. There really are. Oh boy, I mean, I'm just trying to think of maybe the more slightly not usual players. I did see this young kid on one of the Zildjian live shows, JD something.
JD something?
Yeah, very
not
interesting.
directly.
Let me just go Zildjian live. JD Beck.
Okay.
He's a young kid, and he's playing like drum and bass style drumming. He's phenomenal. Really phenomenal. I'm like, wow, you know. So there's some amazing young players out there. It's lovely.
Yeah, but JD Becks will be, so we will try to get an interview with this guy.
Yes. No, he's phenomenal. Really phenomenal. Yeah.
And I guess, I mean, will we ever see a drum clinic from you again, or are you done with this kind of stuff?
Oh, I hope so. I love doing them. I love doing clinics. It's great practice for a start, and I love talking about it. You know, I love talking about drums and talking about my experiences. And no, it's like something I'm very, very comfortable doing. I've been doing. I started doing it in 1980.
Okay, yeah, I see it's coming. Yeah.
All right, so let me just answer. Hey, Florian.
Yeah, Simon?
Yes. All right, let me just finish up here. Let me just.
It's okay?
Yeah, let me just finish up.
Okay.
So great, Florian. Thank you, man.
Yeah, see, thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.